So for the conversation of how to build wealth on a 9 to 5, we have these 4 building blocks that we have been exploring. The first is how to make money. The second is how to milk money. These 2 we have already covered. Making money we have already covered. Now today we will be talking about how to milk money. So if you want to get the details of what we were talking about when we spoke about making money, please go back to the YouTube channel and check it out. And in the following, in subsequent weeks, we will focus on how to multiply money and how to manage money. But by way of just a quick peek review, what we covered on making money had 5 boxes: discovering purpose, optimizing tag. If you do not know what tag means, go watch the video, we'll break it down. Having the right mindset, being passionate and sold out on solving problems, and then making the most of your opportunities, small or great. That was last week. Now, this week, we want to then focus on milking money. Remember, we are talking about how do you build wealth on a 9 to 5, meaning that we do not all have to be an entrepreneur before we can build wealth. So before I go into this session, I can see that John is here. I can see that Mr. Adetayo is also still here. Does any one of you, I think a couple of people are falling off, I hope they're fine. Does any one of you have anything to say before we fire on for today's content? Yes, it's an interactive session. Anything to speak about on the back of how far we've come over the last couple of weeks? Tracy, I see you, welcome. Yes, John, particularly. Oh, it looks like, yeah, John is still here. John, anything to say? Any comment before I go on?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. 1 minute. So, I mean, we've had a good session throughout, and just like you said, some of the key thing has been, because by and large for me, I've moved from both ends, maybe not completely like an entrepreneur, but maybe just running my own gig sometimes. So, but by and large, enjoying the journey is very important. I don't know. It's just key to life. And sometimes we treated it in the first session that we did. And good enough, you mentioned another person that came to the program in T Consult. In the course of entrepreneur, you could lose everything. Absolutely. You could lose, just like Tima said, we could not just lose the investing money or what they call the core cash or even what is on grant. One can lose even the tangible things of life. So one needs to be very, very careful about that. And I think for me, another case is that, so I remember when we were finishing school, so this again to where we come from in Africa. You are bright, you could do something, you've tried some things already. Maybe you are lucky you work with Team Consult where you are doing IT, small company, you know how you thrived, and you want to settle down fast. And of course, small SMEs may not be able to pay you fast, and then you just felt, let me start my own gig. I remember some of us who are trying to do that. It's not a bad thing, but I think we should learn from which is some things that people have. So we tend to tag ourselves in Africa, which is not good, really. Once somebody tried that being a starter, I was still talking to an old mate. I remember we discussed in our world together, and he continued, and the journey was not very smooth. He's almost after 30 years. So you should be able to go back from entrepreneurship and go back to be an employee. It's not a bad thing. It's not a cause, just like what tmak just said that happened to that brilliant person. Because sometimes in our own climate scenario, we tend to box ourselves and make it something that looks like, I don't know, I'm sure we understand, something that looks like a cause. Then people will just be saying what is not supposed to be. So I just want to chip that in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes, any other contribution? Anybody else want to say anything? Okay, so we move on. Please enjoy the journey. I wish I had somebody to tell me before, even though I tried to do it, but I'm sure I would have been better, because life is about the experience, about the journey, not just about the trophies or about the triumphs. All right, so the 4 blocks. How do you make money? How do you milk money? We are the box of how you milk money. I can see some new names. I just want to kind of go back 2 steps just to show you this is the structure of what we are focusing on. Our conversation is around how do you build wealth on a 9 to 5? And we are saying you can only build wealth on a 9 to 5 when you know how to make, milk, multiply, and manage money. We have already covered making money in addition to the preamble. You have all the content on our DLI YouTube page. Please go there and watch. Today, we will be focusing on how do you milk money. Now, milking money says that the money is in front of you. So I use that word milking to send your mind to how cows are milked, how dairy milk is produced. In producing dairy milk, you have those cows that are fatted and have been groomed for milk production. And then whether it is manual or through the suction machine, you see the farmer get to the paps of the cow or the animal, and then squeeze and keep squeezing and keep squeezing and keep squeezing until the milk is extracted. I want you to put that figure and that image somewhere at the back of your mind, that for you to make money, you must learn how to milk it. It's about, instead of your hands and your pocket being just toll gates through which money comes and goes, can you find a way to turn your hands and your pocket into maternity wards, where your money gets pregnant, where your money gives you babies, and those babies also give you more babies, and they continue to multiply. So in that journey, it's about how do you milk it? How do you not just become gates through which they pass? How do you delay their velocity? How do you delay their transition? How do you hold them longer, impregnate them, reproduce from them? What is the science of that milking? That's what we want to talk about. And interestingly, when this content was created, in Nigeria, we had not experienced this removal of subsidy. We have not experienced this floating of the naira. We have not yet heard about the threat of the electricity rates going up. But these things are valid for all locations. A lot of Europe, a big part of Europe and America have already been ahead of this curve in terms of this crisis of the cost of living. So it's not new. Wherever you are watching this from, this is relevant. The first thing to milk money is to ensure that you learn how to slow down the speed at which money travels from your pocket. And that is by living on a budget. really, when we spoke about wealth creation, one of the fine distinctions we made between wealth and riches is that wealth is when you get to the point where your money multiplies. It's not just about money coming in because of what you are doing, but you are at the point where your money can multiply itself, where the money, your cash position is then enduring, is lasting. You don't take out some and you see a hole, because as you are taking it out, it is being refilled, and it is not directly because of what you are doing with your time and energy. It is because you've set up a system where the money works for you. But the very first step is to learn how to live on a budget. Personal story. I'm not a very food person. I don't eat that much, but I'm very liquid based. So you could find me in a day taking 3, 4, 5, 6 cups of tea, beverage, chocolate, coffee, whatever. So I'm very liquid based. And because that's likely what I eat, I try to make it as rich as possible. So a big part of my income goes into beverages. But over the last couple of weeks, the prices have been galloping. And so you find out what you bought at 10 today is now 12, is now 15. And I've told everybody, because I'm an accountant, that when we speak about living a budget, the distinction about living on a budget is that you cannot continue to follow the market prices. Once a particular product moves out of your range, you stop and you check. There has to be an alternative, because living on a budget says that you are determined to ensure that you keep your expenditure below your income. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're just hearing it for the first time, it may not be something you can do right now. It may take you some time to get there, but the first thing about living on a budget is the mental discipline and the operational discipline to sit down and even get going with this. To live on a budget, you need to know where your money is going. You must then convince yourself that you are spending the money well and there is no opportunity for you to cut out whatever you consider to be waste. And then if you arrive at everything, maybe you are even borrowing right now to keep head above water. If you check, you are likely going to find an opportunity to save and optimize. But even if you are not able to do that now, at least you are aware that this is what you need to do. Your next raise, your next job, your next increment will not go into, if you were buying Mama Put before, you are now ordering from Glovo, you are now eating from yellow chili and going to Chinese. You already know that your objective is to see how to keep your expenditure down, so as your revenue increases. The wider the gap between your income and your expenditure, the faster it is for you to get into wealth. I'll say that again. The wider the gap between your income and between your expenditure and your income, the faster it is for you to get into wealth creation. Back to my story. So we live on a budget. We've done that now for the better part of almost 20 years. And that's really one of the things that has saved me and given me whatever opportunities or whatever I've been able to create over the last couple of years. And then it was like, oh, my madam came, this is expensive, that's expensive. Madam, it's not going to change. We need to start looking at how to make this work, because if you keep following inflation, you will never have anything left in your hand. Short story long. So we started looking at this guy, your food is largely beverage. What can you do? Then it occurred to me that, wait, this liquid milk, because we used to buy sachet powder milk. Now, if you have children like I do, and you run the kind of house that I run, where everybody is free and we have a lot of people going and out, you know that powdered milk is not the most optimal way to manage milk. Because what will happen is that different people will come, and then you pour a new sachet of powdered milk into the can, and then before you go up and come down, the thing is empty. And you can't hold anybody. Who touched it? It's not me. I didn't take. But the milk is gone. What do? You have to buy another one, or everybody go without. So, and I said, wait, there are these small 100 naira milk that we use in our training academy. for the convenience of sharing. Have you ever checked to see whether we will even be better? The first reaction was, that more expensive. Have you checked? Long story short, we checked and we realized that with that simple adjustment, the money that we were spending in 1 week can actually last us a month, sometimes maybe 3 weeks. What is the message? Living on a budget is not so much about the price index in the market. It's a discipline. Because whether you are going through entrepreneurship, whether you are going through intrapreneurship, meaning you're an employee, the principle is still the same. If you have an entrepreneur also who makes all the money, but they go into fast cars, they go into traveling, they go into buying new dresses, they go into creating expense for themselves instead of building next contact. In this conversation, when we use the word asset, we are not using it in the terms of what accountants will call assets. For our purpose, asset is anything that pays you, not just anything you own. An asset is something that pays you. I will dwell more on that subsequently. So, but for the purpose of this our conversation, even an entrepreneur, if all the income he or she makes go into expense creation, the same outcome will happen. He cannot build wealth. The only difference between the entrepreneurship or employment track and the entrepreneurship track is that the entrepreneur, if properly operational, can quickly create more cash flow. And it's not a straight line either, because even if what you are selling is gala, it is never always like this. Everything is always bumpy up and down, like the cardiovascular diagram of how our heart is pumping. That's how our life is. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we are down, sometimes we're up, sometimes we are down. So even for the entrepreneur, it's still similar. So if he does not know how to manage the highs, when the lows come, he will be in a worse problem than the employee. So this principle is applicable irrespective of the track that you are on. And what is the principle? You want to milk money, learn to live on a budget. How do you do that? Number one, audit your finances. Go over 6 months, extend it to 1 year if you can. Take your statement of account and just follow the money. See where your money has been going. Trace it. Don't be too disappointed. In fact, you may even be lucky to find out that you have been wrongly charged by your bank, which you can claim back. But just trace it. Through that evaluation, you will certainly see things that are optional, things that are outright waste. Review. And based on the reality, remember, this is about needs. This is not about wants. What you find will lead you to see, I can do without this, I can do without this, I can do with less of this, I can do with less of that. From whatever analysis you've done and the needs that you have to deal with, create a budget for yourself. So you know mentally, I spend this amount of money on recharge card, I will spend this amount of money on food. If you are somebody who likes to do fine boy once in a while, I will do this budget for my fine boy or fine girl. This one is for my mom. If you believe in tithe, this is for my tithe. You do that analysis, and on a monthly basis, you try and lock that figure in. If you've done it well, you should have created a gap between what you are getting and what you are spending. Now, that gap is what leads you to the next point, which is then to save. Now, before I go fully into the save part, when I spoke about you auditing your money, finding the money, this is not a module on budgeting. You can check our DLI platform to find our content on budgeting. But in living on a budget, what you are budgeting for are not just your expenses. You need to have a budget for emergency fund. You need to have a budget for your running expenses. If you are somebody who lives in a rented apartment, you need to be saving towards the next rent. So it's an elaborate module. If you want the full details, go on our channel and find the content and devour it to your advantage. But my point here is just don't reduce your budget to just your running expenses alone. You need to budget for savings, budget for emergency, budget for your rent. If you are owing right now, budget to pay it back. Whatever is currently in your life is what you need to deal with. And over time, you can then standardize it such that you live very, very lean. And if you then bring the example of myself I give to you, once you lock up the budget, the meaning is that if tmak becomes 250 naira, when your budget was at the rate of 200 naira, because you are living on budget, it is that you are going to buy less quantity of tmak, or you need to go and find another thing that is going to substitute for milk. Maybe you need to go and buy cream, tea, coffee mate or something like that. Because what budget does for you is that it puts your head on the alert that no, you cannot just continue to follow the inflation trend in the market. And please allow me to flog this horse a little more. This is the cornerstone for building wealth. Whether you are an entrepreneur or you are an employee, this is a cornerstone. If you find any employee, any entrepreneur that you have seen gone bankrupt, if you check it out, this is what was missing. Money was, when it was at the high, money was coming, but instead of finding a way of impregnating the money and taking it to maternity ward to produce more, he turned himself into a toll gate where it was just coming and going, coming and going. And when the low and slow times came around, there was no fallback position. Same for the employee. When salary was good, promotion after promotion, as promotion was coming and salary was increasing, the person who is not so smart about wealth creation, like they would say in my side of the country, will be eating with the 10 fingers. As salary is increasing, it will allow his cost of living to always rise and match it. And the news is that it typically doesn't take more than 2 months, if you are not disciplined, before your expenditure will catch up with your income. So every increase in salary resulted in increase in running cost, increase in living expenses, trying to live as big boy. I can no longer drive this car. I can no longer live in this part of Lagos. I now need to buy a 500-inch TV, whatever, the latest gadgets. The new phone is out, 2 million, go and buy. That is the problem. So this principle is applicable, whether you are an entrepreneur or an employee. Live on a budget. If you live on a budget and you can create a gap, no matter how small, then the next thing is to start to save. Now, it may be easier for some people than some people, depending on where you are in your journey, but the name of the game is the regularity. The name of the game is not the size. The name of the game is that you are regularly saving something. I saw a video, I do not have the time to play it, about the power of compound interest. It is extremely powerful how powerful compound interest is. If you save regularly, and regularly it is compounded, it can be as small as 2,000. It can be as small as 5,000. The focus is not in saving 100,000. The focus is on the discipline to do it. And then you do it regularly. You will be shocked as to how much it can be. You will be shocked as to how much it will be. So, when we speak about living on a budget, to go back, it is not so much about how wide the gap you are able to create from the first instance. It is first about the discipline to live on a budget and keep yourself within that agreed point. The second thing is, the same thing is also applicable to the second element, which is the save. It is not so much about how much you are saving. By all means, save as much as you can. But the emphasis is not on how much. The emphasis is on how regular, which is why when it comes to saving, the way to do it is not to have to dip your hand inside your pocket every month and then go and put it in another account, or you have to open your banking application every month and do the transfer. Saving money sometimes is like pulling the tooth. It is very painful because you see an immediate need, but you want to delay gratification. If you give yourself the headache of having to be pulling the tooth every month, a month will come when the pressure of what you are dealing with will make you say, well, let's keep it for this month, we continue next month. And the next month can lead to next month. And before you know it, 3 months, you have not saved anything. That is why if you are not a part of any, what we call a job in this part of the world, where it's a contributory saving, where every month everybody contributes, one person picks it, and then on and on like that. In that instance, you are mandated. You cannot just decide and say you are not picking. If you are not in that kind of a contributory saving, I request you to use any of these reputable apps that can help you to just take it from source, or it's even possible by yourself. Open another account, either with your current bank or a new bank, and just put up a standing order that says, on this day every month, go to my balance, pick this amount of money and put it in this account. But whatever you do, don't make your savings so operational and so painful that every month you have to be the one to see expense staring you in the face, to see need staring you in the face, and then you have to be the one to now say, I will go and put it here. Sometimes your willpower is not enough. The second thing you get by automating it is that, and this is true for those who have done it, after like 3-4 months, the mind is so powerful. Your mind stops including that amount you are saving in the amount of money that is available for you. It just adjusts itself to say, maybe you are earning 50K and your point is you are able to save 10K, and you have connected, you have emotionalized it, you have connected with it, you know where you are going, and because of that, you are running with it. By the 3rd month, you will not even remember that you are earning 50. When you are thinking of expenditure, what comes to your head will be 40, because your mind has just taken that off and said, this doesn't belong to me. And one thing that can help you in this saving journey is to, depending on where you are, how much gap you have, and how easy this is for you, is to set a target to say, by the end of the quarter, by the end of the year, I want to have achieved this amount of savings. Extremely powerful. Your head is just completely different because it is inside. That is why it has to start from living on a budget. Because if you have not decided to live on a budget, saving is an impossible task. There will always be expenses calling for attention. So you automate it. The last thing to say about savings is that place where you are keeping the money, particularly if it's your account, make it a different type of account. Make sure you don't get ATM card for it. Make sure you do not have the opportunity of using internet banking with it. No token, no nothing. So that you, by your own willful decision, with your own hand, you put that money in a fence where even for you to reach it, you have to scale a wall. So when you think of, oh, I have to go to the banking hall, fill a teller, and we join the queue, sometimes unless it's a very pressing thing, your mind just say, well, I don't have energy for that trouble. Let me find a way to survive until the next pay or the next salary comes in. So you want to milk your money, slow down the transition time, slow it down, impregnate it, let it give you babies, and let the babies also give you more babies. Be intentional about it. So live on a budget, audit your cash flow, audit wherever your money is going, check it out, and confirm to yourself that you have been spending right, and whatever opportunities you see to optimize, things you can stop, things you can shave, things you can merge, things you can share, do it by creating that window. And from that window, the next box is to save. And don't save operationally. Don't save it by yourself every month unless it's a contributory pension where there are people that will put a gun to your head if you don't contribute it. Automate it as much as possible so that after some time, your mind goes off it. If you can, depending on how ready you are for this, set a figure for yourself by the end of the year. I would like to have this cash position by the end of the year. And as much as possible, wherever you are putting the money, build a fence around it. Make sure there is no ATM. Make sure there is no token. There is no internet banking. After a while, your mind just goes off it, and then slowly you are building that position. When we then get to how to multiply it, you will see how this becomes very critical and how it is a cornerstone for wealth, whether you are an entrepreneur or you are an employee. Now, the third thing we are talking about today is how to develop capacity. The biggest problem with wealth creation is the mindset. What is your mindset about money? Some people believe that money is there to be spent. You find out that the wealthy people, their mindset about money is very, very different. They are keenly aware that money is in your hand so that you can deploy it to make more money. So what do? They train themselves. They develop financial literacy. They get close to those who have that literacy. Because nobody knows it all, and you do not have to know it all. But they get very close to people who are very mindful about their finances. They read up on investment. They read up on the stock market. They read up on real estate. They read up on entrepreneurship. They know what accounting, what is the meaning of a loan, interest rate. When you hear that the central bank is increasing the MPR, what does it mean? The dollar exchange rate is being floated. What does it mean? Nigeria now produces only 1.3 billion barrels per day of crude oil. What does that mean? They get their feet wet. They are intentional, because if you do not have the technical capacity, if you do not have the mental capacity, the mindset that you need for wealth, even when you save, it is difficult for you to convert it into wealth. Because some people, as an example, do not know that cash is a very poor store of value. I'm not sure if you get that, but if you don't, let me use this illustration. It's very easy for you to appreciate this right now if you are living in Nigeria. My mom passed on early on in the year, and we are preparing for her funeral now. And as I was about coming on set this evening, my wife told me that the material that we bought for, was it 25,000 or something? That is now 32,000. This is in the space of a week and a half. So the meaning therefore now is that if you had 100,000, the time we were buying 100,000 cash, the time we were buying, we could buy 4. Now that we are going to buy, if anybody wants to buy now, they're only going to be able to buy 3. So if you are keeping your money forever in cash, you are losing money. So saving is only an intermediate step. Saving is not the destination. But if you don't build capacity for yourself for being wealthy, you will be happy to just see your bank balance is there. Nobody is touching it. No Yahoo boy can reach it. But the money is losing value. What it can buy yesterday, it can buy it today. Part of the mindset is to know that investing and trying to multiply money comes with risk. And if you don't take risk, risk can come and take you. Because not doing anything at all is also risky. I heard the story of a guy who was sleeping jeje in his house recently. And then water tank fell from somewhere and dropped and came and killed him where he was, right on his bed. I've seen an instance where a vehicle left the road, skidded all the coverts, ran into a building and killed somebody who was right there on his bed. A few years ago, there were some plane crashes in Lagos. Thank God we do not have such things, and we pray we don't experience them anymore. It landed right on top of a building. So if you don't take risk, you can be taken by risk. Risk can come and take you. So the way to do it is not to run away from risk. The way to do it is to build capacity for managing risk so that you are intentional. But part of the mindset of the wealthy is that they know that no matter what you do in your pursuit of making money, you will lose money. So if you don't settle all this in your mind and you are waiting to always be sure 100%, 100%, even if you buy government treasury, you can't beat your chest. Government can go bankrupt. We saw all the drama that happened in Ghana recently in their financial system. So milking money is not just about how to create a gap between your income and your expenditure, which is by living on a budget. It is not just enough to do that and save. You also right now, while you are building your cash position, to develop capacity. Now, if I tell you that money is not a good store of value, somebody then wants to say, as I make 10 naira, I want to go and find something to do with it. But how easy is that? How easy is it for you to do anything meaningful with 10 naira? So part of the mindset of the wealthy is that they know that even though they are losing some money when they are building their cash, they are aware that cash is king and they need to build it to a particular point for it to be material. And then they can start putting it here, putting it there to multiply it before they then venture to worrying about how to manage it. So as I land now, what we are saying, what we have said this evening is that as the second step in our 4-step process to creating wealth, particularly on a 9-to-5, the second step is on milking money. To milk money, you must live on a budget. How do you live on a budget? Follow the money for as far back as you can. Check out how your money has been moving and where your money has been going. Find opportunities to optimize. Things you can eliminate. Focus on your need, not on your needs, not on your wants. And focus on the things you can eliminate, the things you can optimize, the things you can shape, the things you can merge. Find anyhow you can to create a gap between what you are earning and what you are spending. Because if you keep spending more than what you are earning, you are an accident waiting to happen. instead of talking about wealth, you will be talking about bankruptcy. Now, if you're able to create that gap, no matter how small it is, find a way to channel it into saving. And whether you're an entrepreneur or you are an employee, if you start to live on a budget, the meaning is that as you succeed in growing your revenue, you do your best to keep your cost as it was. And you don't just increase your cost because your revenue has increased. So if you keep struggling to keep your cost down and your revenue is increasing, you are in a much better position, because the meaning now is that you have a big basket from where you can channel it into saving. So to be specific, because we are focusing largely on the employee, Mr. Employee, even if you are not able to create that gap right now, but you have decided how much is what you want to live on, peg it there. The mean is the next increment you get, you just go do like you have not seen the increment. Let that increment go into saving. Another one comes, let it go into saving. Of course, you can't keep it 100% at the same level, but you ensure that the rate at which your cost is climbing is so slow compared to the rate at which your income is climbing. So even if the gap you are creating right now is very marginal, don't beat yourself up, but just peg it there. The next change, the next increment, the next everything, don't let your cost move, let the revenue, let the difference go into saving, and then save. Save automatically. Don't save manually where you have to be the one to take the money out and put it anywhere. Whether it's contributory, whether it's direct debit, whether it's all these apps that help you to save, let it move automatically. After a while, your mind stop worrying about it. Your mind stop can then build a high wall around that savings. No ATM card, no internet banking, no USSD, anything. Just let it be there. You will be shocked. And make sure it's in the savings account, not current. And put it in a bank where you know that they are keen to give you good rate as far as the market is concerned for savings. You will be shocked how much you will find there by the end of the year. Now, while you are living on a budget and saving, before the money gets big, get busy with learning, build capacity, learn the language of money, learn the language of business, follow your passion, see how people are making money from your passion, learn the rules of the trade, be aware of as much as you can. Understand also that nothing ventured, nothing gained. You can lose some, in fact, you will lose some. So prepare your mind, because having a million is different from being a millionaire. Having a billion is different from being a billionaire. One is a possession, the other is a mindset. This is the time to create that mindset, the wealthy mindset. That mindset is where you won't mind to be driving your 2K around because you are making a big investment. It won't matter to you because your next door neighbor is driving a 2023 Jag and you are wondering everybody, you will not mind because you already know what you are doing. You understand that when you get to where you are going, what's going to come, we pay for 10 Jaguars and you will not even know the difference compared to the Jaguar we are seeing that may be a debt or given to them by ways of perks of office. So this mindset thing, even though I'm talking about it last, is the biggest part of it. It is the mindset that will help you to live on a budget. It is the mindset that will help you to save. But in terms of chain, live on a budget, save, develop the mindset, then you are ready to move to the next box, which is how do you now multiply the money? Remember, we are talking on it from a 4-point perspective. Number one is, how do you make money? Number two is, how do you milk money? Number three, that will take next month, God's Sparing Our Lives, will be, how do you multiply money? And we will be wrapping it up by focusing on how do you manage money. At this point, I would like to drop my anchor and invite those on the call to please just unmute your mic and share your thoughts on what we've shared so far. It could be in form of questions, it could be in form of comments, it could be in form of contribution, and it will also be in form of appreciation. Whichever one it is, the floor is open. Thank you for listening and giving me your evening. Very much appreciated. Please unmute and fire if you have anything to say.
Okay, good evening, sir. And thank you very much. First of all, my condolences on the loss of your mother. May God grant the family the fortitude to bear the loss and also comfort the family and provide everything you need for the burial. All right, so thank you very much for the session. I mean, I learned. Yes, sir. All right, thank you very much for the session. I mean, I learned a lot in terms of, saving and also investing, because I'm also very keen on saving, but in terms of investments, because of, a lot of things that are going on now, you're not sure which one to invest in. Everything seems to be risk, but like you rightfully said, taking a risk is also a risk in itself. So we tried our hands on, I think, some Greek tech ventures, and at the end of the day, they failed. So it's almost as if I wish I'd even spent the money on myself, and also, but we'll keep on looking for veritable investments to do. But like you said, savings is just an intermediary. What we ought to do is to invest the money. So I think thank you very much for the session, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. I'm encouraged by your comment. Thank you. And if I can just quickly chime in that next month, our next edition is on investment. Believe me, there are many investments out there, many. And I don't want to preempt, I don't want to go ahead of myself into that session, but the problem is that let me say this because I'm in the mood, when you hear people talk to you about investment, you know what they do? They make your eyes to shine at the money that is coming. And the more they excite you with the money that is coming, the less you see the road that they are saying is going to lead to the money. So as I will teach next class, Gospel in Our Lives, please, when you are doing any investment, do not let your focus be on the returns. This is the trap that they invest. See, I'm an accountant. Every business makes money on Excel. Every single business. So when they come, hey, you can get this, you can get that, I just say, I do not want to, don't tell me about the returns. I want to know the how. What do I need to do? What would you do? How will you do it? Interrogate it. As a rule of the thumb, never invest in whatever you do not understand. I have done agri, I have done tech, I have done construction, I have done telecoms. I can tell you that the dynamics are completely different. There are certain business I cannot do. So when you see them flash, 50 returns, this one, that one, don't get carried away with the money, because it is all they are doing is doing bling, 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 and they want to blind you. Tell them to hold it. Tell them the how. Tell them to tell you the how. As you begin to apply yourself to the how, you will know. Somebody comes and says, you are going to pay money to agri. I was warning those who went to the agri. You're going to pay agri, and it's going to come. They flash insurance in front of you. The insurance that they are covering doesn't cover the production insurance. Sometimes it's just cash in transit. Sometimes just goods in transit. So there is a science to investment, and I look forward to the next episode, because we are going to dive deep, and I will do my best to prepare for that, to bring out the different sectors you can invest in and the traps that you need to be afraid of, and how you can hedge and how you can mitigate against those risks such that you are not very exposed. Now, it's not because you will not lose money. You will lose money. It comes with the territory. But the point is, it should be very minimal, and you should not be careless. If it has happened simply because it is completely out of anybody's hand, okay, no problem. We deal with it. There are macroeconomic issues. But it cannot be because we didn't do our... When you see investors, sorry, I'm going too long than I wanted to do, but I'll just stop with this. When you see investors, I've had the privilege of raising money locally, raising money internationally for business. One of the investment I did took almost a year before the investor will part with one kobo. They go through something they call due diligence. People who are smart don't toy with their money. You may not need to hire a lawyer. You may not need to hire an accountant. You may not even have the money. But you won't find any serious investor that will put money in any business without doing due diligence. And let me give you the secret. Sometimes what they are looking at is not just the books. Most of the time, for the experienced investors, they are interested in the dynamics of the team. They want to see, are they united? Are they committed to the passion? That's why you see them, sometimes they come, they say, the only reason why they will invest here is if these promoters are committing that they are still here for the period of their investment, because they understand that the people are more important than the business model. The team is more important than the target. So let you and I be also wise. We may not be able to have an elaborate due diligence, but please don't just put your money in something because somebody comes and starts sweet-mouthing you and they will tell you this person has collected. If you don't understand how the money is going to be made, if it was so easy, why don't they have brothers? They don't have sisters. They don't have family they can go and give it to. It's not you, stranger. They want to collect money from you. So let's not go ahead of ourselves. By the grace of God, our episode for July, we will fly very low on this matter and really, really dig it up and see how to learn from it. So thank you very much for sharing. Please, anybody else who wants to share, can you just go ahead and please, let's hear you. Anybody else? At the Tayo on savings, it is obvious that money in bank is a waste of time. I'm very curious about deposit.
Fixed deposit.
About fixed deposit as well. I look forward to sharing. Yes, let's look at it. We will talk about it. But the truth of the matter is that when you are building your cash position, your best option. So when we talk about the mindset of the rich, this is one of their mindset. They know that sometimes they need to keep their money in cash and lose some part of it for it to accumulate. So if your money is coming in boom, 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 maybe every time you can save 10 million, then your money does not need to stay in the bank for more than a month or two because you should have your pipeline for investment. But if you are like me, where what you are saving is 2,000 and 30,000 and 5,000 and 10,000, you need to give it some time to accrue and accumulate. Yes, you will lose some, but it will now be material enough for you to make some meaningful investment with this. So, but next week, next contact, we will take time to digest and dissect all of this so that we can learn. And I challenge anybody here, please, who's also very vast in investment. I have my own experience, but I know that I don't know everything. And you would like to be part of that session, please just chat me up, go to Telegram channel. Tmak is my name. Just chat me up and we can prepare for that session together, because that session is on investment, and I'm going to try and even see if I can bring an investment banker to come and talk to us about it, apart from the concept that I'm going to share. Yeah. So thank you very much for that. Yes, anybody else?
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for today's session. And based on what the earlier person said too, there are some things that makes a lot of sense. There was one thing I did last year. I was in Naira, I was earning like close to 180 Naira, 180,000 per month. And I was very, very happy. I was so, I was very, very happy. But the day the stuff crashed, is a one tech mining something. The day the stuff crashed, let me not say the amount I lost there, but as in I nearly had that attack. I lost a lot of money. As if I did not as if I still did not hear word. Somebody brought something similar. I still put some money inside. I lost that one again. So I'm just saying that some of those things, usually if you look deeply, you will notice that it's the money, the ROI looks very interesting, but fundamentally, there's so much wrong with it. It's just that once the ROI start coming in, you will probably ignore the dangers in it. All these things literally lost all the money in less than 24 hours, something that has been there for like 4 or 5 months. And on savings too, for me, one thing I've learned is, I don't know if it's a bad thing, but I try as much as possible to save in dollars. That is if you are in Nigeria. And there are some apps that help you save in dollars. In fact, there are some apps that help you, once you save in dollar, you also earn interest in dollars, which is like 15%, 8%, which is roughly like 15%
if you have those apps readily available and you have used them, I would still, even though IBK is going to share them. Are you on Telegram group, IBK?
Yes, sir.
Please, for those who are not on the Telegram group, please join today. Please share it there, because if you share it here, if you can share, I don't know if you can share it right now, but even if you share it here, some people may not be able to pick it, but also drop it there. Let people check. These are the kind of information I'm looking for. I do not know about that app, but I know that you can save in dollar. I have a DOM account, so you can periodically just change. You will go on, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
Yes. So I also understand, though now I've not understood, but at least compared to in my own head, I'd say again, because now I don't do any investment. I don't think I have a heart for investment again. If I lose $1 now, it will really cause mental damage. So I've just locked up, put money in simple dollar, wait for it for 3 months. If hopefully I need it, I break it. If I don't need it, then I'm good. I think that's just my own piece. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Abike, for sharing. So I'm hoping that by the time we finish the next contact, you will get some more confidence to invest. Like I said to you, and which you've affirmed, when people are coming to you with investment, the headline will be the ROI. Please, if you've never paid attention to it, I'm telling you now, just tell the person, stop. Don't even hear it. Just say, stop. I don't want to hear the ROI. Can you start by telling me the mechanics of how this thing makes money? Because what they do with those initial payments is called bait. They bait you. So they give you 1 or 2 to make it look like yes, so you can go and bring more people, and then one day it's dried. So, and I keep telling people, if it was so easy, Dangote would not be going through all this somersault is trying to do to make money. Even on top of that, he's no longer the richest man in Africa. So you just know that if it was so easy, if it was so true, why would it be just you, where the other people sleeping? So the trick is, when they come to you and they want to start talking about ROI, just stop them in their track. Don't even allow it to enter your ear first. Tell the person, what is the mechanics involved here? About investment, please don't. This is part of the mindset I was speaking about in that slide. The mindset of the rich is a mindset that never gets discouraged when they lose money. That is why when you see the rich, many of them have stories of bankruptcy. Maybe you don't know what bankruptcy means. Bankruptcy means that your entire estate is put up for sale and you have to start again from zero. But they go again and they become very rich again. I've been working on an app for the last 5 years. As I speak to you, I have over 6.5 million out that I paid to work on the app. I don't have the app. I don't have my money. I'm still finding a way, as I speak to you, to collect my money back. I still don't have a straight line, even though I'm determined to collect that money. But I started again. I've gone 2 months again, putting fresh money into it, because that's the mindset of the wealthy. You don't, because you, and I've been talking about this of recent, really. What you call failure, where did we get this concept of failure from? Who did this to us? Who taught us failure? Because the only time you fail is when you stop to try. And I challenge you, tell me one thing you've learned how to do that you got it right by the first time you tried it? Tell me. You wanted to drive and you were driving the very first time and you got it. Or a child is trying to walk, or you are learning a musical instrument. I don't know what it is that you were doing, that you have done ever in life, that you did it once and it became perfect. Life wasn't designed that way. So the only time you fail is when you stop trying. So everything, God has designed everything to go through a training, a mastery. Mastery is a process. Mastery is not an event. It is a process. So when you lose, don't lose the lesson. Check. What did I miss here? Me too talking to you. I've lost money. I've lost money. And I didn't want to do it. The guy came, this, that. So when I say this, I'm not just telling theory, but I put money and then the next minute, I'm not even sure if I got anything out of it. Yeah, that they have disappeared. Okay. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't cry because I knew what I was doing. I've now learned. It just affirmed what I knew before that. Anything you don't understand the mechanics of how it makes money, don't put your money inside it. It does not matter how good it looks because it's only a matter of time. Okay, so we will deal with investment extensively, but I just use your own experience to say what you are saying you are not going to do is part of what we are saying when we say mindset, the mindset of the wealthy. The wealthy will never talk like this because they know that you lose some, you win some, but the only way to go is to keep swimming, keep going, learn from your past experiences, try to do it better. And then one win will clear everything. I don't want to go to the story of what happens in the oil industry. Maybe I'll tell that in oil exploration. Maybe I'll tell that story some other time. So thank you very much for sharing. Yes, any other contribution? Any other contribution from anybody? So I can
well, I just wrote the other time that also, just like tmak said, that tell me the process of the investment, also deliberately ask for risk. Deliberately.
Yes.
It should be a deliberate action.
Thank you, sir.
Most of us don't like asking for it.
Thank you.
Ask
sir.
for risk. One, two, just like tmak is trying to say, we are just like he said that who taught us that failure is not there. Failure is there. What the rich did more than us is that the rich today is giving me money. The rich already knows the risk why he's giving me that money.
Correct.
And every day he's talking to me, either on Zoom or having a meeting. He has in his notes those risk, and he's monitoring it. It's called risk management. So most of us don't know risk management because even we don't know the risk. It's the risk that you know that you are going to manage. So that's another issue. So
thank you very much. Ask for the risk and research on the risk. Yeah. So don't, because the person that is selling to you will not tell you the one that will make you not to invest. Ask for the risk, and if somebody comes and tell you there is no risk, just know that they are serving you breakfast. You better just reject that breakfast. And if they come and say this is the risk, like John has said, develop the mindset of finding what can go wrong. We are now living in an information world. There is nothing that is secret unless you don't have the discipline and the drive to find it. Just go to Google. What can go wrong if I do? You'll be shocked how much you will know. Ask those who are in that space. And many of these risks are simple logic. Just apply your mind to it, provided you don't allow the bling of ROI to get into your eye, because it has a way of dulling our senses. If you're already calculating money you don't have, 2 million become 4 million. Yay, I can buy another car. Another 4 million, 8 million. 8 becomes 6. 16 is 32. With 32 million, no more. You forget that. I want to tell that story today. So don't let the ROI blind you. Ask for the risk. Research on the risk. Check with those who have knowledge in that space, who are neutral, who have nothing to gain from the deal. They will guide you, and that will minimize your exposure to risk. John. Very well said. Thank you very much for sharing. Yes, any more?
Thank you very much, tmak. My question still boils down to the habit of saving. I have a big challenge. I'm still trying to balance my expense with my saving habit. Up till now, I don't know, maybe I will say I still need the deliverance. I really have to pray very much on this. I've been making efforts, but every time my expenses is always on the high side. And my wife keeps telling me that what it is my attitude, which I need to change, that I always love comfort over anything. And it's not my fault. Yes, I've enjoyed life in the other side, and I like coming back to the country, that thing to continue, irrespective of whether anywhere I am. So I always prioritize my comfort because it gives me a kind of psychological balance. So I don't know, how do I improve on that? Maybe I should start big or start small or start in the middle. I don't know.
Does anybody want to help us? Anybody has any? Or Mr. Jadi, good evening, Mr. Jadi. Been a while. How are you doing, sir? Any contribution? Does anybody want to take that? How can you help somebody like that? Any idea from anybody? Can we crowdsource?
I think it's not wrong to start small. I think it's not wrong to start small. I mean, I think tmak also mentioned it at the beginning. It's not wrong to start small, just make sure it's not something you can reach. It's not on ATM. It's not on just once you type one code on your phone, on the mobile app, everything is already back into your, into your reach, so to say. So if one starts small, over time, just like we said, sometimes it's also about habit, really. And if you can develop some of those habits, I was just reading about Harvard Business Review, some of this thing is the habit we have taken over the years. It's not wrong to have some comfort, but then it's wrong to have a comfort that destroy the future. So maybe if we check it on that equation, that may looks very reasonable. Any comfort, tmak was giving a good example, which is very common among us, or maybe common among the youth. Once my friend buy the newest, that newest stuff, don't let me mention anything new so that no one will be guilty. And then just that newest stuff, then you want to buy it thinking it is comfort. I don't think it's comfort, really. It's not comfort. It's trying to mortgage the future, so to say, the way it's said. So if it's not something we need now, a good example is what Tima said in the beginning. The milk is going up. You cannot stop the milk, but you can have another version of a type of milk that still keep you nutritious, and you still keep going. Why are you doing that now? You don't want to mortgage the future. You want to be sure that it's something for the future. So I think starting small will help, and by and large, there'll be a culture. Once the culture is there, we all know sometimes it's also the culture of, so I hope that helps a little bit.
Thank you for sharing. Tayo said here that
Thank you very much.
You need to be deliberate. So, Mr. Ajadi, the truth of the matter is that the meaning, and you have answered, your comfort right now is more important to you than your financial freedom. So you need to sweat that thought process until you realize that if you do not, I'm trying to find a video to see if I can quickly share it. If you do not prioritize the long term, are you aware that is that money that you are earning right now, that you are prioritizing your comfort, that if that money stops today, God forbid, that you will not die? And that the money, your savings, is actually what helps you not just to guarantee today, but you guarantee tomorrow. That's why I said that the most important thing is the mindset. If your mindset is my comfort first, everything waits. Sorry, you can't save. Oh. You cannot save. If you want, you can. If that is your thinking, you cannot save. Your thinking must get to the point that you must get to the point where you are able to realize that prioritizing and playing for the long run is better than prioritizing and playing for the short run, because the only way your comfort is guaranteed in the long run is when you have control over your finances. If you are always prioritizing current comfort, it is what is called delayed gratification. One day will come that you may not be able to afford that current comfort. And if you can now not fall back on something to keep you going, then you are only now creating a bigger crisis. So, mindset thing. Now, when you were talking, something just popped up in my mind, and I've never really shared this before, but if you have a problem working from your budget to go forward, then can you try to work from your savings, where you look at your income, having done your budget analysis, this month you realize that what I can save conveniently every month is 30,000 as an example. And then, like I've explained, you operationalize that saving, meaning you now automate that 30,000 saving without you having to be the one to take it time by time. What you will find is what accountants will now call rationalization, where once you have started taking that 30,000 out, after a while, your mind will start worrying about it. And if you build a fence around it, like I said, your mind will stop worrying about it or adding it to what you have. When you now need to find comfort, rationalization will come in, because you will now have to take from somewhere to populate somewhere. And once you do that, it doesn't matter if something has to suffer for something, as long as you keep within that budget, you will be fine. But to prioritize short term in the face of the long term is a very dangerous way to live, because everybody goes through highs and lows. So when you get into your low position, it means you absolutely have no fallback position. And the damage, this comfort you are talking about now, can go from 0 to 0, and the impact can really be very messy. So that's my advice. You need to find a way to build that mindset so that you can get it going. Yes, let me play. I want to play this short video for you just to see it. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you hear
Yes,
audio?
yes.
Does it have audio?
No,
It doesn't have audio.
I think you need to share
Okay,
the audio.
let me enable the audio. How do you do that again now? Just hold on. Share sound. Okay, so it's a very short video. I think it's 10 or 15 seconds, but I'll play it a few times. Just look at this video.
Easy choices
Can you hear
lead
my
to a hard
audio now?
life. Hard choices
Yes.
lead to an easy.
So I go back to the beginning so you can hear it properly. Very short.
Easy choices lead to a hard life. Hard choices lead to an easy life. Hard actions, hard decisions, hard conversations. Your dream life is on the other side of discomfort. Eventually you realize the hard route is the only route worth taking. Easy choices lead to a hard life. Hard choices lead to an easy life. Hard actions, hard decisions, hard conversations. Your dream life is on the other side of discomfort. Eventually you realize the hard route is the only route worth taking.
That's very important. It's about whether you want easy choices or easy life. If you take easy choices, they usually lead down the road of the hard life. But if you take the hard choices, just imagine, I mean, somebody has money he can invest. If he invests, this means I've been throwing money around trying to build an app because I know what I want to do with it. I've been wanting to change my car for a while, but I just left it. That because somebody has money, he wants to invest, he wants to buy a new car. You can buy a new car today because no, I don't want the car where I'm traveling, I'm anxious, I'm not sure, and I don't want to combo, it has to be brand new. Maybe his money is not enough, he pays a part, he takes a mortgage, so when it's not, every salary goes into it. What happens to the car? The car will still chop you to sell the car. But somebody else takes that money and invests it. He continues to have that old car for another 2, 3 years. If that invest succeeds, that's because the money is now multiplying. There's a video that was circulating recently, a while ago, about Elon Musk. It's a very funny story. He says that the guy sold his estate, then went to live in a rented apartment so that he can invest his money into his business. I'm sure he does not need any introduction anymore. So it is always a choice about easy choices or hard life. If you want hard life, take easy choices. If you want the easy life, you have to deal with the hard choice. So it has to start from the mindset. Once the mind is decided on these things, everything else is easy to follow. Any other comment, any other question from anybody? Madam Dara Simi, I see you. Good to have you here. Any other comment from anybody? Mr. Adeni, did I help you with that answer?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ajadi?
Thank you very much, sir.
Good evening, tmak.
So, Dara Simi, thank you. I can see you doing. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I came in late, so I just wanted to sync what everyone is saying and what you said syncing. So I'm looking forward to next episode because I think I need to save. And considering what's happening in the latest developments, I don't think our salaries are enough anymore. You know, even if you just got a raise, maybe just last month, it's already feeling like, the last time you got a raise was like a year ago, because a lot of things are changing and there is need for extra income. I mean, before now, I was hoping that, and I was praying that I was going to find something that would give me an extra income, because for me personally, I feel already that my salary is not enough for me, and I'm beginning to feel choked. I'm beginning to feel like, I don't like the way I get broke every time or too fast at the end of the month. Once I receive my salaries, before I know it, I'm already broke again and I'm back to zero. And I'm like, what did I use this money to do? How come this money went away? So I am at that place where, and to be honest, I am really not saving. So it's not like I was actually saving, that I would have said, okay, I was saving to something. So I think that this episode is actually for me, and I'm also looking forward to the next one and seeing how I can be more disciplined about saving, because I haven't been disciplined at all. There's just so many things. This month I have budgets, and then so many, and I don't know, it makes me overwhelmed that I really don't know what to do. So it's like sometimes I'm helpless.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I'll advise you to go to the YouTube channel and just watch the first 2 editions, and maybe this one if you came. I think I knew when you came in a bit late, so that will prepare you for the next episode. But the next episode promises to be very interesting, and then we will reach it with other voices around, not peculiar to us. We are all in this same boat. So you do well to tell somebody, tell them about the recordings. They could go watch. And like I said, almost 300 videos, different things, money management, budgeting. This one and the last two editions are also there, so that way you could refresh it and see what you can learn ahead of the next session. And until then, I thank you so much for allowing me share your evening and giving me a part of your evening. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful night rest. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, tmak.